What's going on, my fellow Saints Row fans? I'd like to welcome you to a Saints Row 5, a compiled community wish list by your host, me, Atomic Dudman. So first we're going to start out with what we know is a community. What we currently know is that Volition is working on a new Saints Row title, and that they have also confirmed they're going to go back to the roots of actual gang lore, similar to that of Saints Row 1 and 2. For those of you who are fans of the newer titles, don't worry. I'll get into what's next for you later on in the video. We currently know that Volition has some financial issues since their Saints Row spin-off that flopped, Agents of Mayhem. So they're trying to do a fan service in this next title and bring their divided fan base of the newer and older Saints Row fans together into one game. They've also been working on the Saints Row 5 since 2017, so it has been 4 years and counting that it's been in the oven cooking. This is a ton of time to add what the community wants and give the game the polish it truly needs. To make this game a financial success, they have to release this game before Grand Theft Auto 6 does. They used to do this before every Grand Theft Auto title. They would release their game before and people would buy the game and then get GTA a few months later. This would set Volition up for a financial win if they do this. Again, especially with the next generation consoles right around the corner. We could potentially have some amazing looking graphics on our hands. And we also know that Volition stated that the main cast of characters we see in Saints Row 4 will not be returning in any future titles of Saints Row, but we as fans can still be hopeful and see what they bring to the table. Now for a more exciting part of this video, let's dive into the story and where it's going to go in the next Saints Row. Story. Spoiler warning. If you don't want any spoilers, please skip ahead a few clicks. Thank you. I personally do not see them making a sequel or continuation of Saints Row due to the fact that Earth was blown up to shit, Johnny Gat has taken Lucifer's mantle and is now the king of hell. We are left thinking that the Saints are now conquerors of the galaxy and now own a time machine to where they can go back in time, but the Saints do not get to exist in that timeline. Which is shit, because how are you going to play a Saints Row game without playing as the Saints? What needs to happen is they need to retcon everything after Saints Row 2 and make it an acid trip, or the other option is they need to do a hard reboot of the entire franchise and recreate the entire timeline in a fresh, clean slate and a nice fresh start. These I personally think are the best options, seeing the writers have written themselves into a corner and have nowhere else to really go with the story. I would also like to see you get recruited if it's a reboot and work your way up the ladder and become a lieutenant, and in the sequel eventually become the boss, similar to how Saints Row 1 and 2 stories were. Diverse gangs and gang lore. Something that Volition needs to nail is diversifying the gangs of Saints Row. I want to see a Russian gang, Hispanic, Black, Neo-Nazi, Triad types of gangs that have their own distinct identities. That also has to do with their looks. I want each gang to have specific clothing, tattoos that resemble gang lore and culture, such as the Triads have very colorful dragon tattoos that mask their entire body with koi fish as well, or Russian gangs that have wire crown tattoos. Or if you are with a Chicago-based gang, say you can get a teardrop signifying you killed someone to join the gang. With diversifying gangs, I also want to see each gang have a distinct personality, such as the West Side Rollers, who were gearheads, Sons of Samdi, who were stoners and voodoos, and the Ronin were similar to the samurai, trying to duel with katanas and having honor. Another thing that Saints Row 1 did was that they brought gang colors to the game. I'd love to see like a Saints purple again. Whatever the gangs are that are established in the game, I'd like to see them and their colors. I personally want to see a map packed with a mixed variety of gangs. Say the Russians are racist and hate African American gangs, which causes a huge rivalry, and the Russians have huge ties to the underground fight clubs and gun trades. Let's say the Triads are into import cars and have high-class organized criminal activity and have fronts. And let's say a Hispanic gang is into lowrider competitions, modding lowriders, and has a huge monopoly on the coke industry, similar to the Mexican cartel or the Chicago Latin Kings. Or even have a New Orleans-based type voodoo gang that assassinates people, curses them, and only creates weed and LSD that makes people see visions. There's so many gangs that they have already created that they can rework, recycle their core traits, and create new gangs from their source content. Another thing that I do not want to see in a Saints Row game is the gangs that are in Saints Row the Third. They were uninspired, they were bland, they lacked creativity and diversity, and overall they felt like reskins of all the same gangs in the exact same city, which was awful. They had no identity at all. Seeing that this gang was united is like the Syndicate with the Morning Stars, the Luchadors, and the Deckers. It felt more of a 1v1 instead of feeling like the odds were against you like Saints Row 1 and 2 did. It felt like there was 3v1, like just you versus the world. And then Ultor was thrown in Saints Row 2 as well, so it felt like everyone was you were against the world. It was a great feeling like that, and then once you eliminated them, it felt like you were knocking people off your checklist. It was a great way to do it, and I really think that they should go in that direction again. Stores being open during the day but closed at night. Add 24/7 types of store to help players get things they need ASAP. Store robberies being simple, such as Saints Row 1's. Being able to open the store safe, such as Saints Row 1. Diverse fighting styles need to return. Even create an OG fighting style that represents and that is similar of that of Saints Row 1 as a throwback mechanic. Bring all unique ranged and melee weapons back from Saints Row 2. Bring all diversions of taxi, ambulance, firefighter, hoeing, etc. back to even adding new ones such as drug dealing. Bring the respect meter back. If you want to play the story and take over city, you have to earn street cred. No ifs, no ands or buts. That needs to return and play a major part of this game. Make the game more difficult like Saints Row 1 and 2, and not a menu where you can upgrade your character and have unlimited health like Saints Row the Third. It felt more as cheat codes than actual legit game, and it was really game-breaking and very frustrating. Bring back grappling enemies as human shields. Add more blood and gore to the game. Do not make activities of the game story missions in Saints Row. Period. It feels lazy and it's just a poor development design that should not be a part of the game. Activities should be separate from the main missions. Period. Bring back our favorite activities such as fight clubs, demo derby, septic avenger, crowd control, and fuzz. Bring back the ability to choose what gangs you're going to go after in any sequence you like, similar to that of Saints Row 1 and 2. Bring back the night activity of robbing local stores at night and taking boxes in your trunk to sell at a pawn shop like Saints Row 1. Make sure the gameplay feels arcade-like with a sense of realism in the game, such as Saints Row 1 and 2. And bring back customizable cribs, the interior and the exterior. Being able to upgrade your hood and develop a neighborhood, similar to how Ultor did in Saints Row 2. But in the Saints image. Make it so you can revive homies with a crack needle in their heart for humor. That's a Saints Row humor I remember. Or even use the original 40-ounce liquor bottle to res them. I don't care. Either, or add both of them. That would be amazing. Bring back consumable food that heals us like freckle bitches. Bring back consumable drugs, adding even more of them to use. Add pipes and bongs where you can reuse these items and keep them in your inventory. And buy dime bags of drugs to use in these pipes and bongs. Make it so if you have these items on you, when you get busted by the cops, they take it and it's an extra charge on your record and it costs you even more money to get a bailout. Tattoos nowadays have a huge culture around them in modern society. So it's time to add a new tattoo system to where there are specific gang types of tattoos that are exclusive to one gang, and after you beat them, you unlock their clothing styles, tattoos, and cars. They absolutely must bring back layered clothing and customization of Saints Row 1 and 2, but also add that ghetto clothing look from Saints Row 1 where they look baggy. The baggy pants in Saints Row 2 were just too form-fitting to the body and didn't feel as ghetto as they should typically be. Bring the statistic menus back from Saints Row 1 where it's overall of all your characters, how much time you play the game, and have also your individual character like statistic menus. That would be amazing. I love just scrolling through sometimes and just looking like, oh, what have I done? How many cops have I killed? How many gangs have I killed? You know, what's my favorite weapon? What's my favorite gun? What's my favorite vehicle that I drive? Just stuff of that is great. Even down to the polls. How many polls I've hit in the game was satisfying to see and made me chuckle. That was great. I would like to see a very new and in-depth character customization and car customization that was just very detailed and very beautiful. Like, you could customize cars like more realistically. You could customize your character to look like a celebrity, because I know there's a fan base for that in Saints Row, and it's funny to see, you know, like Will Smith beating grandma with the frickin' crowbar. You know, that's the humor. What Saints Row really needs to do as well is add a unique recruitment system to where you can recruit special like gang members and have them specialize in being a great fighter, shooter, driver, etc. They need to add skills into the game that you can upgrade, not as like physically upgrade with experience or anything, but they upgrade the more you do it. Like the more you fist fight, you know, the more deadly your fists become, you know, the faster you are at fighting, you know, something of that nature. Like if you go to fight clubs and you get a % increase for melee damage even. This one is such a huge one for me. It's being able to tag wherever, whenever you like. Get rid of it as a collectible or have to find tag locations. No. Where you want to tag is where you want to tag, and I want to tag wherever the fuck I want. Something Saints Row really needs to do is add an amazing array of new songs, or even add all the old tracks from the old games as well, you know? That'd be awesome as well, to make players jam out. Because the new radio stations in the newer games just became less and less, to where there was nothing anymore. It was awful. Another thing when it comes down to music, bring headphones into the game so you can listen to music while you're on foot or doing something. And like in Saints Row 1, you had an MP3 player back then. Now you can use your phones. Have your phone have, like, you know, a freaking Apple Music type thing or a subscription in the game where you can add all the music, all the new music into one category, make playlists and everything of that nature from what you put in the game. That'd be really great to do, so that we could jam out and chill out and play the game and have music going. I remember in Saints Row 1, I used to do that all the time. Like Gangster Party was a huge one in Saints Row 1 that I loved to listen to, or Who I Is in Saints Row 1. When I was gunning down people and shooting them, it was great. It was great songs, and I always bump to it when I play Saints Row 1, even to this day. So that's something they should really add in the next Saints Row game, is headphones so you can jam out while you're killing people. As sadistic as that sounds, you know, but that'd be great. Bring all former activities back from Saints Row 1 and 2. Add valuable Easter eggs like Saints Row 2. There's a lot missing, like the, you know, the bunny, or the sex, like, cave, or like the secret cave on the island, or the Loch Ness Monster, or the mermaid, or this, that, and the other. There's just not as many good Easter eggs in the newer games, and it's very lackluster, and it's very sad. You know, I love just some intricate Easter eggs. It can go a long way and make exploration that much more rewarding. I want to see underwater exploration make a debut in this game. I want to see water traffic, like of boats when you go onto the ocean. I want to see enterable buildings such as there are in Saints Row 2, secret places to explore that are like in Saints Row 2. Hell, a Saints Row HQ that upgrades over time like Saints Row 2, and better gang diversity similar to that of Saints Row 1 and 2, with more gang lore. A city that is in-depth such as Stillwater, or a reincarnation of Stillwater, would be a perfect city to play in, to be a perfect playground in. Because how they formulated Stillwater, it's like based off the south side of Chicago, it's based off of Baltimore, it's based off all these different cities that they took from and mashed into one. And I really think if they're going to go with the new map, that's what they need to do, is make a mashup city, taking elements from each of them to make it really feel alive. I don't know if anyone else does this, but personally, I want to see more RPG elements put into the game, because I love to roleplay in this game. I'd also love to see more of a car culture in this game, and vehicle types of like off-roading cars, drift cars, import cars, muscles, exotic, sport, and economy vehicles, everything. I want to see it in the game. I want to be able to own properties other than a home. I want to own skyscrapers, stores. I want to be able to customize these properties inside, outside. I want to customize them. I want the options. I also want the options of balance of humor and seriousness to the story, similar to that of Saints Row 1 and 2. I personally feel Saints Row 1 and 2 executed and balanced the wacky and the funny and, you know, the seriousness in these two titles, and it mashed together really well. And still, when I play these games to this day, I find myself laughing, chuckling, you know. Or even in Saints Row 2 when Johnny Gat beats that one guy, the one Ronin, like the Ronin's son, he's like, get up, at Aisha's funeral, get up. after he keeps beating his ass. It was just a huge moment, like, oh shit, that gave me goosebumps when that happened. And it was just so phenomenal to see Johnny Gat so bloodthirsty, so angry. It was a great moment, and we need more like that in Saints Row. The days of, you know, 2-player co-op should be over. I'd like to see 2 to 4 players, even 3. I'd be satisfied. Just one more, like 3 people, you know, 4. That'd be awesome. Imagine 4 of your buddies going down the road and doing that, and each of you had like 3 gang members, and on the street you could be with you. Then it would feel like an actual gang, like you're gonna go fuck shit up. That would be amazing. You'd feel so empowered with that gang behind you and your friends and the communication, and you could feel unstoppable. Which could have some balancing issues, I understand, but I'm pretty confident that they could figure that out. The one thing that I took away from the new Saints Row series, please bring back Professor Genki. Have it as a mayhem mission of him, or a murder dungeon with shooting mascots or rival gang members. Add a parkour like Death Maze. You have to get through in a allotted amount of time and have a lot of pressure on you, similar to like a platforming style game, and you have to get to the end and have records of it and compete with like your friends. That would be awesome. Something in Saints Row 4 that went away that was god awful was day and night cycles need to come back. And also what they need to add, seeing this is next gen, it's been a while since they made a quality Saints Row game, since like Saints Row 2, 4-season cycle, such as spring, summer, fall, winter, should be added to the game. No questions asked. Needs to happen. Like anyone else, sometimes you just have to put the controller down real quick and go do something in your home, or, you know, go to the restroom, and it'll be like a few seconds where you come back. I want to see idling of Saints Row 2, where your character will start doing random civilian things like smoking a cigarette, standing there, talking to people in a group, you know, something of that nature. That's just so fun to see, and I would really love to see that type of feature return. Something that I see a lot of people talk about, and even that's been modded into Gentlemen on the Row, make it so you can skateboard in the game, or longboard, so just another way to travel around without a car as you go around the map. That's quicker than walking and still a little bit quicker than running. So, you know, getting us on a different set of wheels of skateboarding and you know, or longboarding. That'd be awesome if they added that. Civilian life system to create immersion of citizens cutting their grass in the suburbs, or fishermen working at the docks, or people jogging, smoking, you know, etc. Just to make the world feel more lived in, like Saints Row 2 is. Adding more diverse civilians would add way more variety to the game. I'd love to see unique districts return, such as the slums, factory district, commercial and business district, beach waterfront with tourist district involved with that as well, Vegas strip district, and so much more they could add to the city to make it feel more alive and breathing and vibrant and gritty as well. This is when it gets a little iffy with the cities. Either if they're doing a reboot of the game and doing an origin story of, like, you know, how you join the Saints, I want hands down, if it's a reboot, I want Stillwater. Absolutely Stillwater. That's where it happened. That's where it started. That's where we need to be. They just need to make it more in depth, I personally feel like, similar to that of Saints Row 2, but I don't want it to be exactly like Saints Row 2. I want it to feel a little bit more like Saints Row 1, but with added of like the, you know, flying and boats and a little bit of islands off to the side. So pretty much like a version between Saints Row 1 and 2, but still giving it more and more detail. Wearing styles in the game need to return, such as sagging, rolling up pants legs, and so on and so forth. I also want to see different walking styles to make a return. Also, when you are in your crib, I want to be able to lay down, play dice games, sit down, play cards, have drinking contests, throw a party, and have weed and booze, or hell, even coke there. Something of that nature, that we could have a recruit system to recruit these gang members and have pretty much clout with our gang, as, you know, us having parties and stuff and having fun. Similar how the Sons of Samdi go on to the university campus to promote joining their gang. Talking about this recruitment system, I'd like to see it as you can recruit anyone off the streets. See what type of specialties they have. You know, I want to be able to rank them up and even make them a callable homie on your phone. You can choose what this gang member wears, even from a nickname that you can personally give them. Make it so there's a feature to where the gang member can have a permadeath option on higher difficulties even, so you feel a loss with that character if they die, but still have your basic recruits that can die and be revived. just like the older Saints Row games. If a unique recruit member dies, I want to make it so you can spray paint a mural of the character on a wall somewhere, similar to what they do in the bigger cities like Chicago. I personally live in Illinois, and I remember a rapper named Juice WRLD. I don't know if he was gang affiliated or not, but he has a huge mural based in Chicago that you can actually see, and that has candles and everything around it when he passed away. Something for an upgrade for a character, I want to see a bulletproof vest that's functional and or can be cosmetic. Say you have another layer of health over your health bar, it's just a different color, and you can unlock a 25%, 50%, 75%, and lastly 100% even from an activity or just a simple going down to a store and buying it. Personally, I would like to see it innovated into an activity because that sort of stuff just makes you feel more and more powerful the more and more you play. Here's something that I did like that I want to see in the game. Add even more fun and silly guns that can be fun and destructive, just as the Shark-O-Matic, Squid Gun, Apocryphists, and even the Penetrator and, you know, Saints Row the Third. Those were pretty fun weapons. I'd love to see them come back. And even bring back the Pimp Cane and the Pimp Slap. We need that in the game. That is a huge thing. With escort missions and everything like that, Pimp Cane and Pimp Slap need to come back. Absolutely. 100%. Something else that was a huge issue that I had with Saints Row the Third, it was the guns customization. They need to revamp the gun customization where you can add and take away parts such as red dots, suppressors, extended mags, scopes, grips, metals, camos, etc. They need to make sure that if I put some shit on my gun, I can take it off. Not to knock, you know, Saints Row, but it needs to be similar to GTA's weapon customization. That's what I'm thinking. It needs to be similar to that. I know we don't usually like to compare to GTA because it has a stigma of being a ripoff of it, but that's something they need to take from GTA is the freaking gun customization. It needs to be that good. Something that I actually want to borrow from Mafia 3, take a page out of Mafia 3's gameplay, is where you can divide the city amongst you and existing gangs. Opposing gang leaders can challenge you or even bow down to you in fear from seeing what you've done to other gangs, and divide territory amongst yourself and create money deals, or even choose to kill one gang off or take the whole damn city for yourself. That would be a great Saints Row game, because that would add another layer of role-playing elements. I do that already. I start new games just to take over one gang and just play in the world, so I have gangbangers to still kill and have rivalries and roleplay because I find that fun. 6 difficulty levels and activities need to return so you can unlock more unique unlockables instead of them having an easy, normal, or hard setting similar to Saints Row the Third. Make it so these activities give you a health boost, melee boost, unlimited sprint, free food, unlimited ammo for specific gun types, and you have to do each gun and return to the game just like Saints Row 2 did it. That was perfect the way that was because it was moderately hard on how to get everything. You had to take all these different activities to get unlimited ammo, sprint, you know, great food, and there's just a lot of stuff there to make it feel like I earned getting those things instead of it feeling like it was a cheap upgrade that I just bought and I had unlimited health. That never needs to be in the game. Unlimited health in Saints Row should only be a cheat code, and that's it. It does not need to be an upgrade for your character. That's ridiculous, and it takes all the fun out of the game, and it's very freaking annoying. Cheat codes should not, I repeat, should not be a purchasable item from the store like Saints Row the Third. That is complete and utter bullshit. They should be free, fun, exciting cheat codes like Saints Row 2 that use numbers to unlock instead of words, because it's a little bit more tedious with words. The new Saints Row title needs to be like Saints Row 1 and 2 in a lot of ways, and this is another one. All melee weapons need to have their own animations. Also, they need to bring back being able to call random numbers and secret homies and call 911 and services like that. They also need to innovate better flying mechanics similar to Saints Row 2 and being able to customize planes and boats. When releasing the parachute from the sky or skydiving, you should be able to take your guns out to shoot. Similar to Saints Row the Third in the intro, I love that mission in the beginning of the game where you're falling through the sky, going down and shooting people. I'd love to have another sequence like that, or even doing a diversion like that. Something. It's a great mission, and I give Saints Row the Third props for their intro. It's very fun. Another RPG element I'd love to see is having the option to work out and eat in the game, to where you can get super fat or super buff, but make this a feature, this feature in the game, an option you can turn on and off in a menu. I'd really love to see public transportation added into the game, such as taxis, trains, or even buses that just fast travel around the world much quicker. Please bring back barbershops. I don't want to go to the frickin' like plastic surgeon just to change my hair. That shit's so stupid and annoying, and it should be cheaper for me than having to spend 500 bucks. Also, let's have moving hair physics and growable hair and facial hair so that, you know, it feels more like a next-gen game. Movie theaters should return so that we can rewatch cutscenes or replay missions. Zombie Uprising should return as a video game, just as Superpower should return in the same exact fashion. The exact same fashion, I'm telling you. I do not want superpowers in this goddamn game. I swear to God, Volition, I will lose my shit. I've been waiting so long for another game like Saints Row 1 and 2, and this better be it. They need to either make it that as a video game or have it as an acid trip, or you going like crazy on shrooms and running through the streets or some shit, and then you pass out like Trevor from GTA and wake up somewhere else after you went on like a crazy bender and be on like the news of like the Saints Row, you know, member or leader just freaking went berserk on drugs in the streets. That would be hilarious. That's Saints Row humor, and I'd love to see something like that if that's how it's innovated. Don't get me wrong, I love Troy Baker as an actor, especially in the infamous Second Son and a bunch of other games he's played as, but he is not a voice for me in Saints Row. I'm sorry. I want more ghetto, gangbangers sounding voices. I want a Cholo's voice actor that sounds more Hispanic, a gangster voice actors, you know, maybe like from like a New York type of accent, or even a deep black voice like Benjamin King from Saints Row 1 who ran the Vice Kings, or even an Asian Stern type of accent that is menacing, similar to that in Sleeping Dogs. Overall, we want better human and just game physics and falling physics. Also, some skills that they could add is precision, driving, flying, health, etc. And please, don't be that game that gets into politics and shit. Leave all politics and political correctness out of the game. If you want to innovate something of that nature out of satire, like how South Park does it, that's fine. That's also Saints Row style. Add as much satire shit as you want. Just don't make it directly into the game, because that'll just piss a bunch of people off. And we're not trying to do that. We're trying to just have a gang simulation type of game here. Not a frickin', you know, simp or liberal or Republican or anything type of game like that. Just keep it gangster, it'll keep it good. Something that I really wanted and missed was bandanas and face bandanas and masks should be added into the game. Higher skill robbery should also be in the game, like heists, robbing banks, you know, just taking stuff over, like stealing oil and selling it, or stealing, you know, a large shipment of coke and you make like 50 to 100k, you know, just stuff like that would be awesome. And also making it just the city just needs to overall just feel living, breathing, you know, gritty city. That's something that we just absolutely need in this game, or it's gonna really suck, because the game is great as its civilians and its city, and Steelport sucked. It looked like an industrial bullshit Vegas district, and all the civilians were the same, and it blew. I hated that, and that's why I only played Saints Row the Third for a little bit, beat the game, I was like, alright, I ain't never coming back to this, because the same old shit, just a different day. Now, here's a more exciting part of Saints Row that we're going to be getting into. I want to get into the multiplayer, guys. Yes, the multiplayer, so let's dive right into it. For Saints Row 5's multiplayer, I think they need to pull a GTA 5 and make Saints Row 5 or Saints Row, or whatever the hell the title's going to be, online. But do not have these insane prices and microtransactions and, you know, grinding gaming loops that GTA 5 does, period. That just ruins the freaking experience in the game. Maybe if there are some expansions they come up with and we purchase them, that's fine to do. Maybe there's a new outfit set or some shit that they add into the game and it's like, you know, 10, 15 bucks. You know, the most I would be willing to go is 20 bucks unless they do like this giant freaking city expansion. Say they rework Steelport and make it feel like, you know, like Stillwater or something of that nature, with all the unique districts, and they make it really unique and feel really, you know, breathing and everything like that. If they gave us a whole nother city in an online mode that just connected to it, hell yeah, I would spend gladly $50 on that. Hands down, easily. Other DLCs they could think of adding is like new missions to play, or even as an online story mode that you could take part in. But the difference between this online and GTA 5's online should be similar but almost polar opposites. It needs to be consumer friendly. How I'd like to see the main multiplayer be structured is to be structured around different gangs that have turf wars against other players. As you gain hoods, you get the daily allowance from these controlled territories. You can tag your turf with your own gang name / signs and have it change from server to server perhaps. Buy properties and develop your hood and rise to power, infamy, and money. Start off from nothing, join or even create a gang and rise to power, and go from the little good gangbanger to a well-organized crime boss that everyone fears, such as Benjamin King did with the Vice Kings in Saints Row 1. I would also like Volition to have different modes, such as Protect the Pimp, Blinged Out Rides, Deathmatch, and much more from Saints Row 1 and 2's multiplayers, just to appease, you know, the OG fans like myself. But I would like them to make the main online experience about joining or starting your own gang and rising to power and or infamy while making tons of money. Make the online separate from the story. Base the online features years upon, you know, years and years and years before anyone got into power from the story. Or hell, make it a parallel universe to where there's tons of these badass boss types like us in an alternate reality. Instead of us being, you know, the only badass in our world, there are tons of other badasses in another world, and you gotta try and grind to the top and beat all these other guys. Add levels, street cred, reputation among the city of who you are and who you ride with. Make the experience similar to GTA 5 Online, where you can customize the online character and buy clothing, cars, and property. But make it even a car auction, and even a website where players can sell their own personal cars. But there needs to be some sort of dev system that values their car at the actual price, so people aren't selling their cars at crazy prices in the game. And then you could sell your old cars to other players if you put a lot of money into it. I always hated just removing a vehicle from my, you know, from my freaking library or garage of vehicles, and then they're just gone, and all that money I spent on the vehicle, poof, just gone. It's very annoying. I would absolutely love it if you could pick your own gang name, gang color, your emblem in the game, even create your own style gang clothing with layered clothing customization similar to that in Saints Row 2. Be a boss or even join another gang. Have a respect level in each gang and make a permanent and temporary gang in the servers similar to that of, you know, posses in like in Red Dead Redemption 2 online, or even make it like a temporary, you know, like system that GTA does with their frickin' CEOs. Do something of that nature, but, you know, make it more in depth of a gang. Add drinking games, parties, drive-bys, turf wars. Create the ultimate crime experience and simulation here, from going to rags to riches if need be. Launch the game online, like later, the mode online, how GTA did it. Take a little grace period to where you can develop online and the servers and stability, and just launch it at a later date. People, I think, would appreciate that, and you would have a more in-depth multiplayer that could last a little bit longer than just one game. That would be fun. But that's all I really think of the multiplayer. I think that they should add it so, you know, it's pretty much gang wars, and that you frickin' go from this low, like, level to where you don't really have anything and go all the way up, and it's a moderate grind, but it's not an impossible one like GTA is with the millions and millions of dollars. Monetization I welcome as long as it's consumer friendly, but I would just like to see the system of going from, you know, a little hood gangbanger that has, you know, $15, $20 in clothes on, head to toe, and then getting up to like having a like $10,000 suit on. That would be phenomenal, and it'd be nice to see, like, you know, if a new character comes in, you know, oh, they're all ghetto looking, you know, they're on the bottom, hey, maybe they can join my gang, maybe they need money, maybe I can pay them to help me with the job I need to do. You know, that would be a great dynamic within the game, especially making those clothing items symbolic of where they're at financially in the game. You know, if they're a new player, they don't have a lot of money. You know, they have, you know, a junky ass gun. They don't have, you know, the nice gun. It's not all the way upgraded. They have baggy clothes on. They have a, you know, a little beater car. Those are things that, you know, that they could add into a multiplayer, and it would be really, really fun, and it would be really, really detailed, in depth, and dynamic. Seeing we're nearing the end of my video, I would personally like to shout out all the channels I watched to compile this community wish list into one video, along with some of my own personal ideas. I like to shout out Mr. Saints Godzilla 21, Flippy, OfficialFTG, JB11 Games, ScissorUp.mp3, Rare Technique, and Saint NEMESIS. I will have their links down in the description below if you do want to check these channels out for more Saints Row 5 content or Saints Row 1 and 2. Please do stay tuned. I'd personally like to thank you all for joining me today. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts about the multiplayer and single player? What do you typically want to see in the game? Like, let's brainstorm together. Let's see what else we could come up with. You know, have a community around it. I know the Saints Row community is very hardcore, and I'd love to see what's on your guys' mind. What do you think of what I said? Is there anything you don't like? Is there anything you do like? Why? Yes or no to why not? Let me know. But that does conclude the video, and I am Atomic Dudman. Please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more future content, and I'll be sure to catch you guys all later. Congratulations for finishing the video, and thank you for tuning in today. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to see more of my future content. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, why not drop a like to show your support for my channel. Stay tuned for more videos coming right your way. Stay nuclear, and until next time.